Welcome to Last Week at the Movies. Thank you for being here. I always appreciate you stopping by. Some interesting news has dropped this week. Apparently AI is going to be recreating lost footage from Orson Welles' The Magnificent Ambersons. Resident Evil's next film will be channeling RE4 vibes, and Jordan Peele's new horror movie has completely vanished from Universal's 2026 schedule. Then, as always, we will break down and talk about box office numbers and end the show with the movies coming to theaters this week. First, the news. Apparently, a bold new experiment in film restoration is underway. AI company Showrunner, backed by Amazon, is working to digitally recreate the 43 minutes of missing lost footage from Orson Welles' classic, The Magnificent Ambersons. The footage was famously cut by RKO in 1942 and is believed to be lost forever. This project is not commercial. Showrunner describes it as a 2-year research effort designed to push the limits of artificial intelligence in editing, writing, and filmmaking. Their goal is to show how AI might one day help complete, restore, or even reimagine films on a massive scale. There's definitely some merit to how this could be a good thing, right? I think most recently we have seen something like this happen with They Shall Not Grow Old, right? Where Peter Jackson restored a bunch of old World War I footage in order to show what those poor boys went through, and it made it look better. They colorized it and all the stuff. If you haven't seen They Shall Not Grow Old, it's completely worth your time. But it's the same idea where they painstakingly went through all this old footage, colorized it, edited it, cleaned it up a whole bunch. And so AI would be perfect for something like that. But when you have someone like Bezos in Amazon backing this, it's where it's going to lead. It's leading to a bunch of movies made by AI that have used old footage in old movies and new movies and movies in general to recreate its own movie when it's really just copying basically everything that's been fed. So the idea and the selling point is good and strong, and Showrunner, that is definitely the pitch, because that's a good pitch, right? This is going to be something we can use to clean up old footage and bring back and restore and all this stuff. But in reality, we know exactly where this path leads, and it leads to more slop, exactly what we don't need. Next, a little bit funner news. Director Zach Cregger says the new Resident Evil film is shaping up to feel more like Resident Evil 4, even though it's set in the world of RE2 and RE3. He emphasized it's not a direct adaptation. This is an original story crafted to replicate the pacing and dread of the games, capturing that point A to point B descending into hell vibe. Cregger, a longtime fan who hasn't seen any of the previous movie adaptations, wants to stay true to the tone of the games rather than past films. Filming starts in Prague this October with a release planned for September 18th, 2026. Dude, Zach is moving. Weapons just came out and he's already cruising along on this Resident Evil remake, or this Resident Evil movie, and I think it's gonna be, I'm here for it. I think Cregger's he is only moving up from Barbarians and then Weapons. I think that he is on an upward trajectory. I think things are looking good. I think he's got a good eye. I think that we're going to get a little bit of that, a little bit of humor. But I think compared to Weapons, which is almost a comedy, I think that we're going to get something a little bit scarier. But you're still going to have some of that I think he gets the vibe that Resident Evil sort of camp, thrown in the screams and in the fear. I think he's perfect for it. I think he's gonna nail it. I think this is good news, and I think that he's, as far as the way that it's gonna look and feel, especially from the old Resident Evil movies that just are crazy, him talking about the tone being slower, more nail biting, and a little bit more intense and suspenseful. I think these are all good things. I'm looking forward to it. I think Cregger's the right man for the job. So yeah, put it on your calendars. Apparently September 18th, 2026. And then to wrap up the news, Jordan Peele's next film, his first film since Nope, has quietly been pulled from Universal's 26 release calendar. Originally, it was set for Christmas 2024. Then it was postponed to October 2026. But now the untitled horror thriller is now gone entirely from the studio schedule. So apparently Jordan is still developing the project, cameras haven't started rolling, and no new release date has been announced. Industry speculation suggests a potential 2027 launch, but for now, the film just totally remains in limbo. This is what I feel like is just so interesting, is you have someone like Zach Cregger cruising, right? He just is like he had Barbarians, right? And then there's a little bit of a wait, but pretty quickly he was able to get Weapons out the door. And then with the Resident Evil news, I mean, it's like back to back. He's like straight into the next movie. He talked about like how it's being written and like it's gonna start filming in Prague. I mean, like I just talked about, right? But then you have Jordan Peele, who arguably has a much bigger base and more money and like more credentials behind him. It's weird to me to see him, like, why is it taking so long to make this movie? Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me when you see someone like Zach just starting out, busting them out. So this is weird to me. It's never a great sign when something is taking this long to make, unless it's huge, right? Unless, I mean, Peele has put out 3 movies, I think, since. So I can make sense that maybe he's going to try and, like, his 4th movie is going to be huge and the budget is going to be huge. I don't know. Hopefully that's what it is and they're trying to figure stuff out that way. Yeah, it's weird to me that this is taking so long to happen, especially when, like I just said, it was supposed to come out last year and now it's potentially going to come out in 2 more years. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it and I'll keep you guys updated on kind of where it's headed and if there's any news that pops up about it. Let's talk about the box office this last weekend. The Conjuring Last Rites from Warner Brothers is currently leading the charts this last weekend. It's currently at 84 million in just over 3 days. It's screening in about 9,000 theaters and averaging about $5,000 per theater. In second place is Hamilton. It was re-released into theaters. After 3 days, it's at about $10 million and averaging about $1,300 per theater. Weapons remains in the top 3 in third place. Its total now, its gross now stands at about 142 million after 31 days in theaters, bringing its theater average to around $400. In fourth place is Freakier Friday. It's still cruising right along. It has currently grossed about $78 million. And then to round out the top 5, you have Caught Stealing. I was hoping that it was going to be a little further up because it's like one of the newer ones in this lineup, but it is down about 40% and stands at about 15 million over 10 days. I think that Caught Stealing it deserves better than this, especially to see something like Weapons be doing so well after 31 days. It just kind of bums me out to see Caught Stealing not doing great. I'm not sure what that's about. Probably just word of mouth. I feel like I'm a little bit hotter on Caught Stealing than most people, but these other ones like Freakier Friday and, you know, you've got Hamilton that was re-released and stuff, and I don't know, they're not quite as fair. So like really, to me, it's like Caught Stealing versus Weapons and The Conjuring, of course. I mean, it's good to see The Conjuring do well. I mean, it's the last movie in the franchise, so it's fun to see it doing such, like, bumping up such good numbers. But like I said, it's at 84 million, and that's in just 3 days. And then 10 days, Caught Stealing, it's only at 15. So I don't know, kind of bums me out for Caught Stealing, but good for the other movies. Now let's wrap up this week's episode how we always do. Let's talk about movies coming to theaters this weekend. There is one, we're going to start with it. The movie, dude, I am so stoked for this movie. I had watched the movie on my Movie Trailer Tuesday live show, and I watched the trailer, right? And it was just like, whoa, wait a second. What is this? Like, how have I not heard about this? Very excited. The movie is The Long Walk, an adaptation from Stephen King's first novel, which he wrote under the name Richard Bachman. It's directed by Francis Lawrence. He did the Hunger Games films. So the movie is about a group of teenage boys that compete in an annual contest known as The Long Walk, where they must maintain a certain walking speed or get shot. The trailer looks awesome. I don't want to see any more of this. A second trailer recently dropped. I'm not going to watch it because I'll be seeing this in theaters. I'm going to post a review letting you guys know whether or not it's as good as the trailer makes it seem it is. So fingers crossed, because the trailer was like, this looks dope. This movie is for those of you that want something slower. Maybe you don't want a horror movie like The Long Walk. You want something just, feel good, happy. It's called Looking Through Water. This is an adaptation of Bob Rich's novel. It follows a hardened New York executive who reconnects with his estranged father by joining a father-son fishing competition in Belize. As he grapples with personal demons, he begins to rebuild broken family bonds while the older Michael Douglas narrates the story. I think it's funny that Michael Douglas is in this. It's just like that classic role. It sounds like he doesn't play the New York executive who needs to reconnect. It sounds like he's the father, but it's just funny that's like he's the guy's got one job in Hollywood, and it's to play some version or some connection to a New York executive who has like family issues. And then finally, a fun comedy, Spinal Tap II, The End continues. The plot picks up nearly 40 years later, reuniting the legendary rock band for one last concert, with plenty of satire still cranked to 11. Expect absurd backstage laughs, glimmers of nostalgia, and the band's signature mayhem. I actually think that this will be pretty good. I think it'll kind of fall in line with the rest of this summer's comedies, where like they will be better than we expected. You know, like The Naked Gun. Bob Rainier, he's back. He's in the director's chair. We've got all of the actors. Basically, everybody's back from the first movie, which I think it's not always a good sign, but I have a feeling I really like Bob, and I think that he does a good job. I think he's got a good eye, and he kind of understands whatever tone he's going for. I think he's good at hitting it. So fingers crossed. I think it'll be good, not great. So we'll have to see. I'll go see it. I'll make a review, let you guys all know how it actually is. And that's it for this week's episode. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you stopping by. Subscribe if you aren't already. I drop new videos every single day on all kinds of stuff, movies and TVs, videos, games. Let's attach an S to every word that I say as I close this out, shall we? Thank you again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow if you're subscribed, and if not, I'll see you next week. See ya.